Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Cincinnati Film Festival's opening night. I'm Menika Apana with the Cincinnati Indian Film Festival. We are so excited to kick off our first ever virtual event. We hope you all enjoyed our opening film, Moothon, from the comfort of your own homes. I'd like to start by thanking all of the volunteers that brought this festival to life and made this all possible during such an uncertain time.
Thank you,
Throughout the
Menek.
next 18 days, we invite you to enjoy our entire selection of 49 specially curated feature films and shorts. During this time, we are bringing you 20 live or previously recorded interviews and discussions with our featured filmmakers. This includes 2 free industry discussion panels with notable Hollywood producers, directors, and writers. For the full schedule and more information, please visit us at iffcincy.com. Here tonight to kick off the Indian Film Festival Cincinnati, we have the talented Geetu Mohandas, the director and writer of tonight's film, Moothon. Geetu has brought several films to life both behind and in front of the camera as an actor, writer, director, and producer. She's extremely accomplished within the entertainment industry and has received 8 international awards for her first feature film, Liar's Dice, which she wrote and directed, and she received the Global Filmmaking Award from the Sundance Film Festival for tonight's film, Moothon, which she also wrote and directed. She's joining us today from India. Welcome, Geetu. Also joining us to lead tonight's discussion is our very own executive director and founder of the Cincinnati Film Festival, Dr. Rati Apana. It is an honor and pleasure to have you both here tonight, and to all of those tuning in, we hope you enjoy. Please feel free to direct any of your questions in the chat box so Rati can include them in the discussions. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Menaka. That was lovely. Welcome, Geetu.
Thank you, Rati.
I just want to take a minute to say thank you to all of our volunteers who helped us. It's a team effort, and especially to my family because they put up with me for 3 months of organizing the film festival. So, Geetu, such a film, so intense, had me on the edge of my seat the whole time, as it did several of the others in the audience. I just wanted to say, Geetu, all of us, every human being has aspirations. We all have hopes and expectations, and all of us contend with reality. And life is really what happens in that gap between your aspirations and your reality. And watching Moothon, it's about many things. It's about filial love. It's about love across traditional boundaries. It's about the allure of the big city. But most of all, it is about that gap that all of us know and we recognize. It's the gap between aspiration and reality. So I want to ask you, Geetu, tell me, how did you come upon this magnificent theme, and why was it important for you to tell this story? And you did it so well.
Thank you, Rati. See, when you talk about aspirations, that's a very privileged word. That's a very, that's something which I'm talking about the underdogs in my film. I'm talking about where there is no privilege, there's no choice given. It's just reality, and that's it. Because whatever that has happened and transpired within their lives, their characters, it's not by choice. It just happened. So why did I want to make this film? For this exact reason, to tell them that they had no choice, and this is how cruel the life is, how cruel the world is, and it's from my observation, and so this is how I wanted to tell it.
Wow. And what took you to Lakshadweep, the beginning? Was it, yeah.
Lakshadweep is, I wanted a completely different contrast from Bombay hustle and bustle, and because whatever that was happening in Bombay was just so much of chaos which was happening in terms of shooting it, in terms of the performances. They were all so loud. It was done with a purpose so that when we go back to the serenity, the calmness, the space, Lakshadweep, it should reflect like something which is from a different world. And I wanted that space, and I found this island, and I thought, it's so magical, and I wanted the waters, I want certain texture and coloring and tonality for the film. So, and the people are so pure, and yeah, so too many reasons.
And, and the language there is Malayalam in Lakshadweep. Do they speak that, or
No,
the?
no, they have Jesseri. They have different dialect. They don't have. It's not a written language. They have a. It's a dialect, and the dialect changes every little. What do you say? Island that we go to. Like they have several islands there.
Lovely,
And it's
lovely.
quite similar. It's quite similar. It's not Malayalam. It sounds very similar. If you know, like there are certain words which are well, I guess it's no point saying because you don't know Malayalam. So so there are certain words which are.
I happen to know it, but yeah.
Oh, you
But
do? Oh, I didn't know you were a Malayali. Oh,
I'm
okay.
not. But
So there are.
I happen to know the
Okay.
language. Yeah.
Okay. So there are certain words which are similar, but it's not Malayalam. It's a dialect.
Okay. So I was just thinking, a really intriguing facet too about your story is this recurring theme of self-inflicted wounds. Moothon is replete with examples of self-inflicted wounds. The lead character, Akbar, for example, he's stumbling from one self-inflicted wound to the next. And once again, is this what you see as the human condition, or is it just an interesting hook to hang the story on?
The self-inflicting wounds is part of Kutturatib. That is Kutturatib. Kutturatib is a it's a very beautiful performance. It's something. It's like a how they do pujas here. The Hindus, among the Muslims, it's like a prayer. It's one of the most beautiful things I have seen in my life. Where, in fact, what they do is Kutturatib is a practice which is being done in houses to, like if someone has a fever or to wait away evil spirits, or for whatever reason we do other things. Like some people do pujas in the house, or some people do artis, and that kind of religious practices. So this is something which is very similar among the, in this community, where
Yeah.
they believe that by self-inflicting these wounds, and then when the blood drops on the ground, then whatever you pray for happens. It's absolutely beautiful to just observe it and to see it, and it is a belief. It happens. Like we have, I don't know if you've heard of Velichapada in Kerala.
Yeah.
Velichapada is so it's like they believe that the goddess enters them, and they have this rhythm when they move, and then they dance. And so there's a lot of different practices which happens, different customs that happens in different religions. So this is a practice, Kutturatib. It's called Kutturatib. Kuttu means to inflict, like to inflict, basically.
Right,
So
right.
Kutturatib is a practice, and it's not something like this is something which some of the people do, and this is not something which anyone can just learn and do. It's something which is passed on by generations. Like if a father does it, then he might teach his son the essence of it, and then so on and so forth. It's not like someone else can just come randomly and do this. There's a certain practice, there's discipline in it as well.
Yeah, no, that was absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to take a question from the audience, jump in there. The question was, what's your inspiration for the story, which you just spoke to us about? So I'll go to the next part of it. And it was the underbelly we don't see, and it's so beautiful and stark in its reality. Did you actually shoot in Kamatipura? And what part of the film was the most challenging to shoot for you? So two questions. Did you actually shoot in
Yes.
Kamatipura?
Yes, we did shoot in Kamatipura. We shot in all real locations. And there was nothing challenging about shooting anywhere, because it's all about your attitude and how you approach it, how you go for the shoot. Because when the whole team, my husband is my DP as well. So when we went in for the location recce and we went in to shoot it, we just didn't want to disturb them, because the business is going on, the dhanda is going on, the business is going on, the people, the sex workers were out at night. And there was so much which is going on, and we have to respect them. We have to respect their space. We have to respect their privacy. And because I wanted certain locations, we decided that we were going to take a very small body camera to shoot it. And we decided we're going to, take very few crew with us and go into these little gullies inside and shoot it. And what happened is we became one big family. The moment they understood that, we were respecting their space and we were not creating a noise and say, come on, action. And, it was nothing of that sort. It was just very minimalistic. We went in there, we did quietly, we did our work, we got out. So we started respecting each other's boundaries. And after a point, all of them were part of my film. Like if you can see all the people, the extras who are walking in and out, who are, who are washing their clothes or who are like with their daily chores, they're all people who live in those gullies.
Right. And so they got comfortable with you after some time.
Yeah, because that's the only way to do things. Like that's the only that, we're supposed to work. Yeah.
I have a question from the audience, and the question is that the unrelenting contrast that we see in the film are really remarkable. What strategies did you use to manage a fine balance so that the film did not descend into pathos, into cliche or pathos? Audience question. Because yes, there are so many contrasts, right, in the film. So how did you manage to pull it all together? Because the film just covers everything, and yet it was such a fine delivery of the film. But only on reflection, you say, "Oh my gosh, you covered this, and you covered that, and you covered the other." And how did you just, pull that all together?
Uh, I think when when you first write a story, I think it's very important to ask few questions to yourself as a filmmaker. Like, why do I want to make this film? And what am I trying to say? I mean, these are the things which I keep writing notes about. And I think it's something which I went back to as well, because I was mentored by the Sundance Lab for the scripting of this film. And so there's a lot which has happened from the time that I had written it to the journey that I have been to see it now happening. Because I wrote something, and then I'm a filmmaker who don't see script as a Bible, to be honest. I go with the organic process.
Yeah.
So what I write, I kind of shoot something else, and then I kind of edit something else. But I kind of like that, even while filming, like when I see something exciting between actors, and I feel, oh, you know what, I should go down this road. And I would be very instinctive. And I think it's not just with me, with my team, with my husband. Like we would be like, you know what, let's do this, let's do that. And I love that process, because it's not something about, oh, this is the scene, this is what we wrote, we got to shoot. I can't work like that. Even with my actors, I keep telling them, I'm not going to give you, the script or everything before you come learn your dialogues, you come stand in front of me. I'm going to have a problem, because I'm just going to say, chuck it, say your own stuff. So we keep doing that. And, and I think after a few days, they kind of got it, and they kind of like, oh, okay, what's the point in reading? Like, what are we shooting? So it was like that. So I think what's most important is, while this whole thing is going on, some magic happens in cinema, where it kind of like, where everything kind of, how do I say, just fit in seamlessly. And the fact that your intention and the few questions that I ask myself, if I revisit those questions, and if that makes sense in the process that I'm doing, that I think I'm on the right track. So I understand with all the layers. And Rati, it's amazing, because not everybody get these layers. It's because of your keen eye and your observation, the fact that, you guys watch so many films. There are people who says, I didn't get that, I didn't get this. And I'm like, neither did I. I always go with the people, because when people come and tell me, did you mean this by that? And I'm like, I did. I meant it. So I like to go with people's reactions. I like to go with how, because it's an art, it's an expression, and then you just do it. And then whatever happens after that, as a filmmaker, I like to observe. I just like to observe and see. I don't like to be preachy and, say things. I like to get information and then react, basically. So.
No, that's absolutely amazing. And audience, question here was what was the question now? It says, is there a reason why the film used minimal lighting in so many of the scenes?
Yeah, well, it's you know, minimal light. I hope firstly your projection was good. So, um,
That's
well,
true.
that
Yeah.
that's true because you don't know. I mean, I don't know how they saw it, but see, there was a lot of scenes in Lakshadweep which we shot in day for night, and in the water, the blue light, the blue moon, and all that was shot day for night. I mean, day for night is basically you shoot during the day and then you create it for the night, and that sort of a process. So this is a very this is also a very there's a lot of visual narrative which is going on because there's certain calmness in what you see visually, what you hear by the sound. So it's like so this is something which it was done intentionally. And the cinematographer, who's also my husband, Rajiv Ravi, he is somebody who's very prolific to do minimal lighting, and he's somebody who is this is his thing. He does this. There was no lights, there's absolute nothing. It was just basic, whatever was available was used. Since we were shooting in Kamatipura and such, very small interior. So he had like bulbs and he had all these fancy little lights which he would carry in his pocket. He would just fit it up in one corner and say, okay, done, shot ready. So, so we work like that. Like we work in a way where we don't need this big setup and we don't need this big, all that stuff. So yeah, it's a style. So,
It is.
and I hope, yeah. So
I love the piano music that went with the scenes. It was really beautiful and haunting as well. Lovely. What was it like with Nivin Pauly? He's a big, big star, isn't he, in Malayalam films? What was it like working with him?
well, it was good because for me, Nivin, he is also my neighbor. Like we live in the same apartment building. So
Oh,
he's somebody. Yeah, so he's somebody, and our children go to the same school. So we've been friends before we started filming, and he's just such a amazing talent and such a receptive actor. Like it's amazing to work with people who, and the type of films that he has done before. They're all wonderful films, and they're all very commercially successful films. So there is a certain style, and there's a certain approach which he has been following, and which he has been very successful at as well. And so this approach towards Moothon was slightly, it had to be different, where he had to kind of just unlearn certain things, kind of be more receptive, be more open, and a lot of things. So I think I can't get that out of an actor, or you can't expect it out of an actor if they don't want to do that. And that's something which I found in Nivin, that he's such a, he's somebody who is, did I get cut in between? Yeah. So, he's somebody who's just so, he's so receptive. That's a perfect word. He's so receptive to information, to understanding of how it has to be. And then he would just take off, So it was absolutely delightful. Yeah, it was absolutely amazing to work with Nivin, with Roshan, with Shashank, with Sobhita, with the little girl, Sanjana Deepu, my most amazing mullah. And I mean, they all just absolutely fabulous. Like I'm just so blessed that I could get this team together.
Yeah, where did you find Sanjana? Is she a child actress or?
Well, I found her, I was searching for her everywhere. I did at least over 150 auditions with children, with girls, with boys, and ready to change things if I get the right talent. And then I went to watch a movie, which I did not even want to watch. My friends dragged me for this film, and I saw her in the movie theater, and she just turned and she looked at me. And I knew her father from the gym that I never go to, but so I knew her father. So I saw her, and she had these deep dimples, and she's such a gorgeous girl with all these long hair. But I saw a little boy in her, and I was just staring at her, and I'm like, this is my mullah. Like I just knew it. And I called her father and said, hey, can I just like audition your daughter for this? So that was that.
Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. Well,
She's an
Beautiful.
18-year-old girl. She's an 18-year-old college girl.
She looked very young. She looked
Yeah,
like she was 12 or 13 in that.
yeah,
So,
yeah. When we shot it, she was like 16, like so.
oh wow. Yeah, lovely. And now one more question coming in, which says there's minimal dialogue. It's mainly expressions, and hence relies heavily or draw, and hence relies heavily, draws the most and the best out of the actors. It takes a skilled director to achieve that. Kudos to you, Geetu Mohandas, and in no small measure to all of the actors. Is what I am reading from there. Um,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if you have time for another question. I know you have to keep
I do
rushing.
have time for another question. I do. I, in fact, cut the call in between when they were calling. So I'm okay with another question.
Oh, wow, wow, lovely. So the question is, this is another question from the audience too. The conscious and the unconscious, they drive towards self-discovery in the overall context of gender and sexual identity. And class are, again, these are very large themes. You have gender, you have sexual identity, you have class,
Oh,
and
it's
all.
pretty long.
Yeah, these are all explored. And how did you, as a director, sort of keep that balance and deliver wisdom through the eyes of Mullah and Akbar that are really so relevant to all of us? Because it's true. I mean, you saw that film and you could relate to it, 100%.
See, I think as a filmmaker, it's my responsibility. If I am handling and dabbling with such subjects, there is a certain responsibility because I feel it's timely. It's time that people start telling such stories. And I also feel that what I was trying to achieve, because I'm from Kerala. I'm from Kerala. I'm
Mhm.
from a place where it is not very people get uncomfortable talking about these topics. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
people get uncomfortable to watch such films with families. And
right.
for me, when I wanted to tell the story and when I wanted a theatrical release in Kerala, I was very sure, I was very certain that I'm not going to not tell it because you are uncomfortable. I was very
Yeah,
clear about that. So when
yeah,
I decided, okay, now I'm going to go ahead with it. Now, how do I do it? So
yeah,
what I decided is make the love so beautiful and so pure that they see the love and not the gender.
lovely.
You know, that's what I wanted. I wanted people to see, and after 5 minutes, I wanted people to just see human beings
Yeah,
sharing an emotion. I didn't want
exactly.
people to see, the gender and
Yeah,
I feel that if I achieved that, then
yeah,
I achieved my purpose in telling this.
yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. And you did that so well. I mean, as I'm listening to you, I can see that. I mean, it really was pure love, and it really shone through. Oh wow, that was amazing. And all your work in Kamatipura also, it's a topic. Trafficking is also a topic that's very close to my heart, which drew me to
yeah.
this as well.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
to depict all of that, because it's so easy for us to just look the other way, and it's something that happens, or it's someone's choice, when
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah.
And this exposure to this whole underbelly of what goes on, and it's true, it
Yeah.
does go. Was really eye-opening too to our audience, I think. Thank you. I mean, that this movie was amazing. It was lovely. It kept us on the edges of our seat, like I said, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for making the time early in the morning. And
I just
and
woke up. I
I hope
look better. No, I usually look much better, I swear. But I just woke
we didn't give you time. I got some time
up.
on my face. So, but yeah, lovely that you just came on, and it's so refreshing, to be able to talk with you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much, Geetu, for a lovely film, for
Thank
taking
you. Thank you.
to be with us, and especially during COVID. Stay safe. Are you in Bangalore or Bombay?
I'm in
You're
Kerala.
you're in Kerala right now.
I'm
Which part?
Kerala in Cochin.
Cochin. Yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure exactly where your coordinates was, but thank you so much for being here. And I just want to uh, echo what the audience is saying. They say, kudos to you. In you did an amazing job. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rati. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
My pleasure too. And thank you to the audience for being with us today.
Oh, yes. I mean, I don't know how this works. I mean, thank you so much for tuning in, for watching the film. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you, to you and to all the organization of Cincinnati Film Festival for giving me this beautiful platform to showcase Moothon. Because for me, I just want people to watch it. I mean, that's my agenda as a filmmaker. If I keep telling my producers that there's so much of coordination that happens in film festivals. Why don't we just give it the film to everyone and anyone? And they're like, that's not how things work. So if it was up to me, I would have big screens on roads and say, while you drive by, watch my film. Like, I have no problem with this. So anyway, thank you so much.
It represents, your hard work, your ideas, your writing, and to be part of that was such a privilege. Thank you, Geetu, and hopefully
Thank
we
you.
again.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And to the audience, I just want to say, be here tomorrow night for the next film. It's Run Kalyani. And
Oh, James, that's amazing. That's Geeta's movie. Fabulous.
it's a fabulous movie. And then we have,
Yes.
yes, and we have Kissa soon after that. And another beautiful film called Anandi Gopal. So hopefully, audience, please stay with us through the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Geetu.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Yes. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, Adam. Bye.